Tonight, a new red line is being drawn in the Middle East. As fears of a wider confrontation grow, the United Arab Emirates has made its position unmistakably clear. It will not be part of a war against Iran. Abu Dhabi says its airspace, land, and territorial waters will not be used for any hostile military action. The UAE says dialogue and de-escalation, not force, are the only path forward, even as the region edges closer to crisis. But in Tehran, the message is far less restrained. Iran says it is ready for any scenario and warns that any war triggered by the United States would not stay contained. Iran's foreign ministry says security in the Middle East is contagious, that instability in one country would spill across borders, pulling the entire region into chaos.
کشورهای منطقه به خوبی به این امر واقف هستند که هر گونه ناامنی در منطقه هدفش فقط ایران نیست. ناامنی مصری است. فلان ناو قرار نیست در اراده و جدیت ایران برای دفاع جانانه از کیان ایران اثری بگذاره. ما هم اراده این رو داریم، هم توانمندی کامل برای دفاع از ایران به پشتوانه مردممون، به پشتوانه تجاربی که در این چند دهه کسب کردیم. لذا ما نیروهای مسلح جمهوری اسلامی ایران با دقت هر تحرکی، هر تحولی رو رصد میکنن و همزمان از هیچ ثانیه‌ای برای ارتقای توانمندی‌های خودشون در جهت صیانت از حاکمیت ملی، عزت ملی و امنیت ملی ایران نمیگذرن. این نکته هم عرض بکنم که گسیل نیرو به منطقه ما و تهدید هم خلاف همه اصول و مبانی بین‌المللی است که متاسفانه البته ما میدونیم که طرف‌های آمریکایی نسبت به این اصول وقعی نمیگذارند، اما این همان اصولی است که صیانت میکنه از کل جامعه بین‌المللی، صیانت میکنه از امنیت منطقه‌ای و اگر این اصول زیر پا گذاشته بشه قطعاً ناامنی ناشی از اون متوجه همگان خواهد شد. و همین دلیل است که کشورهای همسایه، کشورهای منطقه و حتی کشورهای خارج از منطقه، اونها که برای صلح و امنیت بین‌المللی ارزش واقعی قائلند، نه فقط در اعلام مواضع، تلاش میکنند برای اینکه هیچ طرفی دچار اشتباه محاسباتی نشه.
This comes as tensions remain high following Iran's brutal crackdown on protests that erupted after the collapse of its currency. Activists say more than 40,000 people have been arrested. Fears are growing that some detainees could face the death penalty. U.S. President Donald Trump has issued repeated warnings, drawing two red lines: the killing of peaceful protesters and mass executions. Trump claims Iran halted executions of hundreds detained, a claim Tehran has strongly denied. Against this backdrop, the United States is moving its military chess pieces. The Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier strike group has entered Central Command waters in the Indian Ocean, part of a broader buildup by air, land, and sea. 15 fighter jets, heavy transport aircraft, and increased surveillance across the region. U.S. officials say the carrier is not yet positioned for strikes, but the message is unmistakable. Security experts warn Iran's greatest threat may not be missiles, but drones. Low cost, high volume, designed to overwhelm. Analysts say Iran could unleash massive drone swarms capable of saturating even the most advanced naval defenses, turning billion-dollar warships into vulnerable targets. Hundreds launched at once, some almost certain to get through, a form of warfare modern navies were never designed to face. Now, as the UAE closes its airspace to war, Iran signals readiness, and U.S. forces reposition across the region, the Middle East stands at a dangerous crossroads. If war comes, it will not stop at one border.
Tonight, the world watches a Middle East on edge as fears of a U.S. military strike on Iran escalate and major powers weigh in on the consequences. From Moscow, the Kremlin has issued a stark warning, saying a U.S. attack on Iran would seriously destabilize the entire region. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov told reporters that such a strike could be another step towards serious destabilization and urged restraint from all parties. He stressed that peace and diplomatic negotiations must be the only focus amid rising tensions. Reports from Israeli media suggest the United States has been preparing for possible military action, with some saying preparations are complete and a strike could happen at any moment. In Geneva, Iran's UN envoy signaled Tehran is bracing for every possible outcome, saying the Islamic Republic is prepared for any scenario, including aggression. Officials claimed informal messages have passed between Iranian and U.S. envoys, but they stopped short of calling these formal negotiations. Meanwhile, Tehran's military leaders have vowed a powerful response to any attack. Iran's defense ministry spokesperson warned that any U.S. or Israeli aggression would be met with a more painful and decisive response than previous conflicts. Iran's first vice president has also said the country has wartime plans ready, while reiterating that Tehran does not seek war but will defend itself fiercely if attacked. And in Washington, the U.S. is increasing its military posture in the region. The aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln and its strike group has entered the U.S. Central Command CENTCOM area of operations in the Indian Ocean, part of a broader deployment of fighter jets and military transport aircraft amid rising threats from Iran. Earlier, the U.S. Navy released photos of a readiness exercise involving its air forces in the Indian Ocean during rising tensions with Tehran over the crackdown on protests. For Iran, high-ranking officials insist any American attack would fail, a message echoed by the judiciary chief, who said the enemy's saber-rattling would not succeed.
We possess extraordinary defensive capabilities. We are far more prepared than before. It is our duty and responsibility to defend Iran's pride, sovereignty, and territorial integrity. As we have shown before, against any aggression or threat, we will respond fiercely and comprehensively with all our strength.
The result, a region fraught with danger, where diplomatic brinksmanship, military buildup, and fiery rhetoric collide. Russia calls for restraint, Iran vows readiness, and the United States positions its forces as the specter of conflict looms over the Middle East once again.